All right, YouTube, Repo Man 64. I just watched Chris over at Global Rapture Watchers. Things are heating up, just like we have all been saying all along, that towards the end of when the rapture is going to occur, do we know? No, I can give you my best guesstimate based on a timeline that I built, but I don't know the date of the rapture. I still believe the Amos 3:7 event will take place, and God's going to tell us all. And those of us who are watching and waiting and dreaming of that day and have envisioned us in heaven, walking through our mansions, meeting family that has passed away already, meeting Jesus and getting that big hug. Um, all of the things that we could imagine when we get there. Uh, when that alert comes, we're going to know exactly what it was. We will know exactly what it was. I also watched David the Watchman's video. He brought it out not too long ago. I was at work, and this is a new segment of the show that I'm going to start, and that is Pick on a Watchman. I'm kidding, David. But he cites the word I wrote, triumphant entry. And he says I wrote triumphant. He said triumphal. And he is a word warrior. And so am I, unless we're saying the word irrelevant. Irregardless, I mean, regardless, irregardless, unless, and I caught my wife saying it, so I've accidentally taught her a bad habit of saying irregardless. But we'll go right into the picture so that I can pick on David the Watchman. This will be fun because I love David. I think the guy is amazing in what he has found and the work that he does. And David, what you found is something that I found quite some time ago. That is the day out of time, Joshua's long day. You have, whether advertently or inadvertently, discovered it within the Bible and have placed it on, and honestly, it does work there as well. It absolutely works right there. It works 6 months out, which is where I placed it, and you placed it on March 31st. There shouldn't be a March 31st. It would have most, and I believe the reason there is a March 31st is because of the laugh in Satan's face when Jesus died on the cross and you realize he'd made a huge mistake. He thought he was killing God. He knew the creator, thought he was killing God, and oops, the guy appeared in Hades and started rallying everybody. Follow me, or you can stay down here. It's up to you. And a lot of people chose to stay down there. Same thing's going to happen at the rapture. A lot of people will see the event and they'll make a choice at that point to either follow Jesus or not. It's a free will. It's always been a free will. The cup of salvation will always be the same cup. Nothing ever changes during that dispensation. It will be the same cup offered that's offered now. And so let me get into the pictures so that we can tease David. I'm kidding, David. But no, really, I'm going to tease you. But I'm kidding. Hold on a second here. So he said that he prefers to use the word triumphal entry, and I chose the word triumphant entry. And the reason that I chose that word as opposed to using the word triumphal is because when Jesus did it, it was the triumphal entry. But now that it's 2,000 years and we look back on it, it's the triumphant entry. In other words, David, we're both right. You we have a little fun, David and I, picking on each other when it comes to this type of stuff because I am a word warrior. He is a word warrior. Aside from the word irregardless, I believe we're pretty much on the same page, but my triumphant entry is a feeling, showing, or having achieved a great victory or success. Looking back on the event, that's exactly what Jesus did. It was triumphant what he did. If he did not perform a triumphal entry, then there would be no triumphant, there's no victory. His victory was made at the triumphal entry. So both David and I are correct. After breaking the record, this is where I am in my view of the triumphant entry. And David, of course, rightfully so, looking at the triumphal entry, and that is at the moment it happened. Just prior to it, if it had not happened, it could not have been called triumphant. I hope I have taught you something here today, David. Sorry, David. Oh, look at here. Both terms are correct and frequently used interchangeably to describe the same event. Glad I helped you out with that, David. All right, now on the wall, we're done picking on David. Please go watch this video. It's very good. David, you have found the day out of time. I have often thought that I should call the 30th and the 31st the same day, because a stellar calendar, the Enochian calendar, the Dead Sea Scroll calendar, uses, and now neither one of us, I don't believe, are debating on the fact that it's Nisan 14. It's just what the Gregorian date it is, and he's using the Gregorian date of March 31st, whereas I'm using March 30th because I placed the day out of time down in September at the Revelation 12 sign. For me, placing it there doesn't technically, placing it anywhere doesn't technically mess up the time, because the counts that we do are based on the Hebrew year of 364 days. 30, 30, 31, 30, 30, 31. We count through the year, 364. There are 52 weeks of 7 days, and it's exactly 364. We find this in the Dead Sea Scrolls. We know it's accurate, but we are saddled with this problem of living here on Earth currently, and we have to explain the extra day, and that, of course, happens by 4 minutes per day. On the timeline, you'll see where I attempted to find it by using the 4 minutes per day, but I couldn't. There's only two places it can possibly be, and that is the day before April Fool's Day, which is the one David is looking at, and the Revelation 12 sign, because it appears to fall exactly one day out from the Day of Atonement. So I put it there. I put it right there. So and noticeably, in Israel, the Revelation 12 sign actually happens at exactly midnight, is when the moon becomes under her feet. So that's why I chose that day. And so once again, David, we are both correct about that at any rate. So now behind me here, you've always seen it, John 6:44. This was my favorite verse. I said that in a video, it must have been 6 or 7 years ago, and a very awesome person, and you know how I am with names. I don't recall her name, but she was very awesome. She was in the Discord. It did definitely, Discord can become very overwhelming, especially back in those days when we could not define nearly anything. And now that we're getting close to the end, the definitions are getting clearer and clearer. That glass darkly is clearing up, and we're able to discern certain things now that we couldn't discern years ago. Couldn't see these things years ago, and now that it's unfolding right before our eyes, we're able to see them. At any rate, she sent me, I think she sent me this John 6:44, and I wound up coloring it in because she sent it in I think she sent it in a stencil. I don't recall, but that's why that is there. I always spoke about it, but then she sent that to me, and I put it on there, and it's been there behind me for the past, again, 6 or 7 years, whenever I made my first video. I don't recall, but the last 6 or 7 years. And as it's been behind me, the reason it's back there is it is my favorite verse in the Bible. Many people have a favorite verse. That's mine. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him, and I will raise him up in the last day. The last day. David asked me, well, he didn't ask me. He was telling me that he might be leaning towards March 16th, March 17th, which was 14 days after the blood moon. And I thought that's pretty cool that and he asked me, and I sent him the timeline, and I said, there's a lot of stuff going on for the 2 weeks leading up to the cross, a whole bunch of stuff. And he did speak about that in his video. But what's very interesting is now calendarically, The last day, there's only two of them. And like I said, David has chose the day at a time up towards the cross. I have chose the day at a time down by the Revelation 12 sign, the Day of Atonement. Again, this timeline doesn't budge. Aside from it budging by one day on the solar calendar, the Enochian calendar, Dead Sea Scrolls, it is not. Everybody says it, but I'd shake my head when they do. It is not a solar calendar. A solar calendar is a 365 and a quarter day calendar. This is a stellar calendar. This means that at a certain point, uh, facing a certain star on a fulcrum point on our planet, it happens exactly 364 spins. With it'll be and it'll be off by seconds, but I don't even think it's off by seconds because that's just the way that program works. Time and date. Again, you can go into time and I've showed it so many times. You can go into time and date, scroll down to sun and moon, click on it, put in Jerusalem, Israel, because they're our timepiece, and uh scroll down to March 16th. That's the day of 12 hours a day and 12 hours at night. It is the most solid date that we have. If you use the equinox, you're going to jump around by 12 hours a year. It'll go forward, it'll go back. Some years it'll be on the 20th, the 21st, the 19th. It just jumbles around. There is no way to build a calendar based on using the equinox. There's no way to build it. But we have an absolute, it's the only date. It is absolutely the only date in spring that we can choose where it's absolutely solid, off by seconds every year. You can go 600 years from now. Guess what day is the day of equal parts? March 16th. Jesus said that are there not 12 hours a day randomly while speaking about Lazarus's death? He just randomly says, you know, are there not 12 hours a day? That caught my attention. And then in the book of Enoch, the Dead Sea Scrolls, it says, on the day equalized. That will be, I think it's 9 parts and 9 parts. The gates are the hidden days, the Kasseys, and there are 360 days, he said, plus the 4 gates, or the changing over of the seasons. Every season has 90 days. But that one day, as it switches over to a new season, here on March 16th is the last day of the 4th season, and on the 17th will begin the first day of the first season. And that season will last 90 days. And then there's a gate where it switches over. It's called a Kasseh. It's a hidden day. There are 4 of them every single year for each of the 4 seasons. And in 3.5 years, there are 14. 4 times 3 is 12 plus the 2 for the half year. It's 14. There's 14 of them. So anytime somebody's doing 1,260 day math, which I'm going to show you, it's actually 1,274. But God is looking specifically at the 1,260, not the Kasseys. Not that they don't exist, but they're still there. So the last day has 2 dates. The last day has 2 dates. Now, this last day in March 16th is the day of equal parts. But the last day that happens in September is not a day of equal parts. It is the day of September the 14th. On September the 15th is trumpets, and it's offset by 10 days. In other words, north of the equator, we have 6 months and 10 days of summer. South of the equator, down in Australia, they have 5 months and 20 days of summer. They have 6 months and 10 days of winter. We have 5 months and 20 days. Did I say that backwards? Winter. Anyway, you get the picture. It depends on which side of the equator you're on. It depends on how long your summer is, 6 months and 10 days or 5 months and 20 days. But still, the last day, there's only 2 of them. One of them, again, is September the 14th, the day before trumpets. It is a Elul. Is it Adar or Elul? It's got to be a little. They both share. Hold on a second. Let me make sure before I speak. Again, I speak in Gregorian, but obviously because we all understand that. But it is Elul 31. 31 means if there's a 31, that means there's a gate. And Elul 31 is the September the 14th, and Tishri 1 is the beginning of the 3rd 90-day cycle, fall. So if this was speaking calendarly, it would say the last day, we could say the last day is March 16th, or uh, what is it, Adar 31, or we could say it's September the 14th, Elul 31. Either way, something is going to happen on the last day. Your last day, if you died now, it was your last day. So when the Bible speaks about this, I believe it's speaking about a calendar, a time of the year. I don't think and it is speaking to multiple groups. So the last day for the bride is a date. The last day for the tribulation saints is a date. The last day for the Jews going to the millennium is a date. And if it all applies to John 6:44, the last day would be one of those two dates. It is written in the prophecy, and I think now that we've gone this far, we've gone past Purim, which was on February the 28th. We've gone past the blood moon, which is a warning to Israel. I know it wasn't seen over Israel, but there isn't a single program that anybody has on the most simplest phones that they couldn't see the blood moon from wherever they were. Everybody knows about the blood moon. When the rapture occurs, everybody's like, well, Jesus, how is he going to be around a round planet? It'll be on your phones, people. It'll be everywhere. It'll be on your computers. It'll be on television. It'll be announced around the world. It won't be missed. It won't be missed, period. I would imagine it's going to appear over Israel, and we're all going to be raptured and go over in the clouds above Israel, is what I would imagine. And yeah, it's going to be televised all over the world. It is written in the prophets, and they shall be all taught of God. Every man, therefore, that hath heard and hath learned of the Father cometh unto me. So read your Bibles. This is telling you, if you will just read your Bibles, God will find you. God will find you. He will open your mind, and ultimately he will save you. If that's where your heart is, if you want to know the Father, he's not very far. Just read the word. Open it anywhere. Read anything, and you are beginning to get closer to God. Say that rudimentary prayer, take that cup and drink from it, and you will be saved. So John 6:44 is my favorite verse, and I'm beginning to wonder, it's been behind me for years, if it's not because the last day means that the rapture might occur on March 16th. I don't know when the rapture is. That's my next high watch day. It's March 16th. That's the day Lazarus dies. All right, let's see where we're at. Okay, how embarrassing. This was sent to me by Agent Bay. She has a YouTube channel. She makes cutesy videos, cartoonish videos about all of us, Watchmen, and they're really cool. What she does. She does a similar thing as Looking Up. She does that as well. All right. She sent me this, which I had already heard about it, but I figured I'd snap a shot so I can remember to talk about it. How embarrassing is it for you when I got to admit something. I have to admit something. My last video calling out a high watch day typically comes with an influx, a huge influx of mockers laughing, say, "Well, your day passed again. What you going to do now?" But something changed in the last video. I have not seen very much of that. Why? Because it's embarrassing that Donald J. Trump has said that this war that we're going into is a war of Armageddon. Trump's commanders tell troops to prepare for Jesus' return and issue chilling Armageddon prophecy. How does this guy know more about it than you, who are supposedly super religious, super biblical? You know the one passage in the entire Bible, no man knows the day or the hour. How is it that he knows and you don't? And I have a feeling that since he said this, they might be steady. This might be what has saved a bunch of people to begin looking at a pre-tribulational rapture of the bride being us, the Gentile, not the Jew. The Jew is Vashti. They lost it. We are not replacing them. We are what happened at Mount Sinai with Moses. He threw the tablets down. It was a divorce, but Vashti didn't get killed. There's no story in there about her dying or anything. Nope, she was just set aside because the bride, us, the Gentile church, will be raptured up before any seals are open, pre-tribulation, pre-everything. We're going to be standing in heaven to watch the first seal be opened. All these people that I see, oh, these are all the seals that have been opened. They might be types and shadows, but the seals have not been open. And if you think you're here until seal 6 and that there's only 3.5 years, I don't know what to tell you. Are you seeing what's happening? Exactly what the Bible said would happen, not before the 6th seal, but before the first seal. This stuff is all going to happen. No seals have been opened yet. We're going to be standing there watching the first seal being opened. The rapture didn't occur. Somebody said 1,000 years ago. I'm like, and we've been in I don't even know what these people are talking about. You've taken something out of them. Look, can we learn? Can we learn? Can we make mistakes? Can we have an understanding and then hear another explanation and say, wow, that actually makes sense. Hosea 6:2. That's not speaking to the rapture. That is speaking to the Jew. He will revive them. They will realize that they crucified Jesus. They will cry, and a third of them will take off to Petra. And on the third day, 2033, after 2 days, he died on the cross in 30 AD. After 2 days, 2,000 years, in 2030, he will revive the Jews. They will take off to Petra. 1/3 of them will. And then in 2033, after 3 days, he will raise them up. He'll bring them up out of their graves. Can these dry bones speak again? Ezekiel, can these dry bones rise and speak again? I don't know, Lord. You tell me. They raise up and they go into the millennium. The Jews go into the millennium. If Trump knows this, now I have a feeling that since this was stated, there's some people questioning their life decisions at this point because there's not as much mocking going on that the date passed. I've never said that was the rapture date. I always have to quantify that by stating I don't know. But look at this. Look at the math that leads to this. And it turns out it wasn't the rapture. It's another stepping stone on the way to the rapture. But I noticed that if Donald J. Trump tells all of his troops, prepare for Jesus. Come on. He knows this, and you guys are running around saying no man knows the day of the hour. Trump knows, and tells them what's going on here. And you don't. I think that's why a lot of the mocking in this latest video has slowed down. I saw that. Wild. I was at work. I don't really get to give good responses at work. Some people are like, wow, that was kind of short. Well, it's because I was at work. I can't really stand there texting people while I'm working and getting paid. I don't think that's right. All right. 4,000 years after Adam was created, Jesus was born. As a matter of fact, it was 4,000 years and 14 days. Pay attention to those 14 days. David, again, made a video on those 14 days. They keep popping up everywhere. Every time I do, work in timelines, I keep seeing this 14 days pop up. It happens here. Did I miss something? I think I hit, there we go. Now, this particular time from the cross, which happened on March 30th in 30 AD, you go 2,000 years, but minus 14 days, and you're going to land on March the 16th. Exactly. 14 days shy of the cross. The cross happened on March 30th. March 16th is where it appears as though, minus 14 days, 2,000 years is where it appears as though Hosea 6:2 will be enacted, and that will be in 2030. 2,000 years minus 14 days in 2030 is when I believe the Hosea 2. This is where the Jews flee to Petra. This is where bowls begin, and this 3.5 years later is a jubilee. Remember, we're trying to mix apples and oranges here. You can't do that with 1,000 years for a day and a jubilee year of 49 years. You can't mix them. But ironically, when you put it down like this on a timeline, the year right here is the Jubilee from creation. And when you put it on a timeline, right here's the Jubilee from when Adam sinned 7 years later, perfectly. And when you put on the day for 1,000 years, exactly halfway between this, 2 7 years apart Jubilees. One of them starts in March, the other one starts in September, because God changed the head of the year. So that does get a bit confusing, but it turns out there's a reason for it. It turns out to be 7.5 years. This 6-month period right here, I believe, is for seals. Now, and it was amazing. If you guys haven't seen the video with John and Ronnie over at Watchmen for That Great Day, you should really watch it. He's not claiming a date either, but he is saying that he's this has never happened to him before. So I'm inclined to believe it's not like he has a vision every 3 days. The guy's the first time I've ever heard of him, Ronnie, talking about this, and he believes that the seals will be opened up within 21 days, beating my record, which everybody gets upset about, 6 months. They're like, no, seals is part of both trumpets. And I'm like, no, it's not, because the 7th seal opens trumpets. It literally is separate. It is separate and apart from trumpets, because the 7th seal here in 6 months on trumpets opens up trumpets. So there's no way that they're the same. And the 7 years is for the Jew, period. That's it. Jacob's trouble and Daniel's 70th week is for the Jews. It is a 7-year-long process. God he cuts the time short, takes the Jews out early and sends them to Petra. That's why people are using that verse and saying, well, it was 7 years, but now it's 5 3/4 years because God cut. Oh, wait a minute, that date passed. So now it's 5.5. Wait, that date passed. Now it's 5 1/4 years. They keep changing. I won't change anything. Nothing has changed on this timeline in 7 years. The date Jesus went to the cross, the date of creation, all of it has stayed exactly the same for 7 years. The only thing is, when I see verses like this and people saying 2,000 years, I was all right with that when everybody thought he went to the cross in 30 AD. I was cool with it because I knew that was accurate. But every year since, Jesus went to the cross in 31. Nope, Jesus went to the cross in 32. Now, because of moving the time, Jesus went to the cross in 33. And I'm like, please listen, what are you talking about? King Herod, was it King Herod? I think it was King Herod, put out the order to kill all the Jewish babies 2 and under in 4 BC. He also died. He put the order out 6 months later. He died. It took him 6 months. They wiped out all these babies. And that's when it happened. He didn't die in 1 BC or 0. He died in 4 BC. From our perspective, it was actually 3 BC, but from our perspective, 4 BC. So based on that alone, there's no way Jesus went to the cross in 33, unless you're trying to say he was 36, you know? He was 33.5 when he was on the cross. A half. That half always means something. That half is for these seals. 33.5. That's how old he was. Adam was 26.5 when he was created. That's how old he was. The year 26.5 is the year Jesus began his ministry. That's how old he was. In the year 29, John the Baptist was killed, beheaded in 30 AD. It says it right there. It's written right there. When was it Xerxes? I don't recall which one it was. I'll get names mixed up all the time. I'll misspeak all the time, but most of you understand that of what I'm saying because of hearing my videos in the past. But at any rate, he died. He reigned for 14 in the year 14 AD. In the 15th year of his reign, the word came of the Lord to John the Baptist to do what? To go baptize Jesus? No, that's not what it says. It says that he went and told King Herod that what he was doing was wrong, and then he was jailed, and then he lost his head. That's what happened to John the Baptist. He was killed. He was killed exactly 6 months because he was 6 months older than Jesus. He was killed exactly 6 months before Jesus died on the cross in 30 AD, which just so happens to be 14 days after Rosh Hashanah, the new year, which does start on March 17th because of Exodus 12. The reason God changed the head of the year by 6 months, not only did he realign the seasons for whatever happened during the flood, not only did he realign the seasons, but he explains these 6 months in color vision. I mean, it is in stereo. You can't miss why he changed the head of the year. That's why, right there. These 6 months, these six seals. And like I said, if Ronnie is correct over there with John in Watchmen for That Great Day, the seals begin to be opened on, I think he said March 19th or March 20th. I'm not sure. And they'll be opened up in quick succession, the 16 of them, six of them, I apologize, misspoke there again. Six of them every 3 days, 18 days. And by the 21st, and I'm going to show you the relevance of that here in a moment. And of course, we have to be in heaven before that occurs. All right, let me keep going here. Keep going here. Triumphant, triumphant. David. All right. Did you hear about this? You guys know about this. I think Mark Allison talks about it quite a bit. The DeLorean must reach 88 miles per hour to activate the flux capacitor, which requires 1.21 gigawatts. Now, this is Steve Fletcher's type stuff, but maybe Steve Fletcher watches my videos. Maybe not. I don't know. I watch his because I love the way he puts stuff together because this is my 40A. This is not my strong point. Mine's timelines. But do you find it interesting, Steve Fletcher, that 88 members of and I'm not laughing. I am floored by the number. 88 people, hierarchy in Iran decided to all get together in the same building to elect the next Ayatollah. And they bombed him. All 88 died. Why were you guys together? What do you don't have a phone? Can't text each other? I mean, come on, what were you doing? 88 of them died. 88. March 21st. Nissan 21. What is Nissan 21? It's the last day of unleavened bread. Remember, Jesus did a lot of stuff in the midst. Due to be here 7 years, but he was here for 3.5. His ministry lasted 3.5. He was here for 33.5. There's a reason for that. He left in the midst of unleavened bread, right in the middle of it. He was crucified right in the center of unleavened bread. Sorry, he rose. I said that backwards. Unleavened bread began the day of crucifixion and ended 3.5 days when he rose, and then 3.5 days later ended the piece of unleavened bread right there. Nissan 21. Remember Nissan 21. I just found it interesting. It's almost like, and I don't know, here's the thing. They attribute this to the devil. A lot of channels do. I would say that maybe the Holy Spirit is guiding, because some of you are a lot like this is what you look at. You don't understand my calendar. You don't understand dreams and visions. You don't understand plates and stuff, but this type of stuff you really gravitate towards. Why? Because this is what you understand, and that's your piece of the puzzle. And I am not taking or discounting or trivializing your piece of the puzzle in any kind of way, ever. I would never do that. That's insane. Your piece of the puzzle better look just like my piece of the puzzle, or yours is not legitimate. That's insane. That's literally insane. My piece of the puzzle is bigger than yours because my IQ is higher and I have a greater memory retention. Come on. Salvation is only for smart people. Okay. No, everybody has a piece of the puzzle. And I'm not kidding when I say that. I don't say that lightly. I'm telling you, from a hangnail to a right leg, everybody is a part of the body. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle. Everybody is important. This body cannot operate if I don't have eyes. I mean, it could. There's blind people. I'm not saying it couldn't. But fingernails are super important. What do you do without fingernails? That sounds painful. You're trying to open something with just no fingernails, right? I'm sure there's people out there with no fingernails. I don't know. I'm just saying each part of the body is super important. If you didn't have ears, you know, I don't, every part is important. So don't ever minimize or trivialize what God has given you. Take it and run with it and be thankful for it. Some are given a lot, some are given less, but all are given, and all that are given are saved. Remember that. Take your piece of the puzzle and don't ever think that it is not as important as anybody else's piece of the puzzle, because without a heart, without lungs, without kidneys, without bladder, without all of the things we need to survive, every part is super important. I can't see my heart beating. I can't see it. I suppose I could if I using what is that? Echometer, I forget what they call that thing. But if I were using that, I could see it. But otherwise, you can't see that. But it's very important, right? It's very important. So here we are again, Nissan 21, the last day of unleavened bread, and we see 88 miles per hour. Is this something that was told to us to pay attention? Again, this is Steve Fletcher stuff. I just dabbled in it here for a moment. I'll turn that over to you, Steve. Take a look at that. All right. Israel strikes 88 senior officials electing slain supreme leader. 88 of them got together. Listen, the Iranian people, if you know some Iranians here in the United States and you're not shaking their hand and asking if you could pray with them, and you're actually angry with them, boy, have you messed up. Like, are you messed up? There's a reason they're here and not over there. I'm not saying that they're all here for good reasons, but I would say the majority of them are here because they want to change the way life was. In 1979, women were bathing on the beaches in Iran until Ayatollah took over. I'm not here to say right or wrong. I'm not here to justify. People are like, there's a reason that they're attacking Iran. I don't care. You know what the reason is for attacking Iran? It says so in the Bible. That's why there's a war going on with Iran, because the Bible said so. I don't care how God brought them to it. Well, it's because of oil. No, it's because of religion. No, it's because I don't care. I really don't. All I know is it's written in the Bible and it was going to happen. And here we are. We've been harping on this for years. It could happen next week. These numbers look good. This looks good. I've been saying for the past probably 2 years that we're going to watch an escalation take place just prior to the rapture. And boy, are we seeing that now. We're seeing an escalation take place. I'm excited. David was super excited, texting me today, talking about those 14 days. We're all getting very excited. And while it's disheartening, yes, that the day passed, and Brent, hang in there. It's okay. This is what we do. We give out high watch days. We don't know when the rapture is, but we're going to continue to look to the next. I'm going to continue to look to the next day that appears on the timeline. Steve Fletcher will find stuff like this, and he'll be able to put something together. Everybody puts all kinds of stuff together for your consumption so that you can contemplate, ponder, compare it with scripture and see if it holds up. And that's exactly what I want everyone to do. All right. Now, we're going to get into some math. March 16th, the day of equal parts. Nobody can dispute that. Nobody can dispute that. Go to time and date, go down to sun and moon, type in Jerusalem, Israel, go into March, and on this day, there will be 12 hours a day and 12 hours a night. Undisputable. That's the date that Enoch talks about. The day equalized, 9 parts here, 9 parts there. This is the date, March 16th. It is not March 20th on the equinox. Nowhere on planet Earth on the equinox is there 12 hours a day and 12 hours a night, because that's what Enoch said on the day equalized. He was not talking about the sun balancing itself over the equator at a specific time. It doesn't even, every year, like I said, that moves by 12 hours. It's not reliable. What is reliable? The day of equal parts. Put in 2026 and you'll see 12 hours a day, 12 hours a night. Then put in 2600, 600 years into the future, and you'll see the same exact thing happen within seconds on March 16th. That is the most concrete, solid date that we can find anywhere in anything out there. We can't use the sun with the backdrop of the stars or the constellations. Why? Because it moves a constellation every 2001 or 6 years. That doesn't work. Can't use the equinox. It moves by 6 or 12 hours every year out of place. You can't even build a calendar on something like that. No, you need something solid. You need something concrete. You certainly can't use the moon like the moon. It's off by 10 days every year. It's even worse than all of them. It's the worst one of all of them. And yet people will still try to use it. Now, March 16th, 21 days. Now, this is what, how do you call, Ronnie and John were looking at. Excuse me, 21 days. 21 days after the Day of Equal Parts is April the 6th. This is the last day of unleavened bread. This is Nissan 21. Remember, I just showed you the 1.21 gigawatts. 121 is March 21st. Sorry, I'm going to keep saying that. Nissan 21, which is April the 6th. This is the last day of unleavened bread. Never changes, never budges, ever. That's the date. Nissan 21. The Bible tells you from the 14th to the 21st. That's the time span of unleavened bread. And halfway through, what did Jesus do? Well, he rose. He finished, completed everything on April the 2nd, which is let me look. I gotta speak correctly. Nissan 17, that's when the ark landed. And then, of course, we see that they went down to the tomb around 3 a.m., which is 84 hours after he gave up the ghost on the cross at 3 p.m., and they found the tomb empty. That was April the 3rd. So 3.5 days, in the midst of the feast of unleavened bread, Jesus died on the cross, and he had already risen 84 hours earlier before Nissan 21. All right. Let's keep going here. This is what I wanted to show you. Everybody says, I can prove that there's 360 days a year because of the 1,260. Well, I can prove that the 14 Casses for every 3.5 years also is there. March 30th, Jesus goes to the cross. This is Passover. This is Nissan 14. 1,274 days later, adding the 14 Casses back in, brings us to the Day of Atonement. September the 24th is the Day of the Atonement. September the 24th is the day the Revelation 12 sign happened. It is exactly on September the 24th of 2029. 1,260 days. Just to oh, sorry, I'm still on the other one. Now pay attention. This is from the cross to atonement, 1,274. Those 14 days that got David all riled up today and excited, and he made a video. The 14 days that are extra, 1,260 plus the extra 14 days, which is the Casse, brings us from the cross to the Day of Atonement, and it happens again right here. From March 16th, the Day of Equal Parts, or the day equalized, 1,274 days brings us to what? September the 10th. What happened on September the 10th? At sunset, the first day of creation began. It began on September the 11th is a Sunday. It's always a Sunday. September the 10th is always a Saturday. And at sunset on that Saturday, God began creating. 1,274 days. You see how everything is separated by those 14 days. 3.5 years, true, but the 14 days always appear. I've noticed this for years. I don't know how to apply it aside from telling you that 14 days before the cross is a day of equal parts. 14 days before Jesus's birthday is Feast of Trumpets. It's all in there. The 14 days has always been there. If you want to use the 1,260 days just because you must, Jesus to creation is 1,260 days, taking away those 14 days. From the cross to creation, 1,260 days. All right. I showed you all this. John the Baptist is on this side. John the Baptist was born on March 30th in 4 BC. The order from King Herod, I believe it went out on March 30th of 4 BC before Jesus was born, or perhaps just after Jesus was born, and then he died. He died about, I believe King Herod died about 6 months after he put the order out. February the 14th, which is a Dar 1 in 26 AD, which is a matching date, but I have no event that I can find in the Bible relating this to John the Baptist, but it's 6 months out. On August the 15th is when Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist, right here. Exactly 6 months. That's the 6 months. There's always 6 months separating these two. Like I said, Jesus died on the cross at the age of 33 and a half. John the Baptist died by beheading at the age of 33 and a half. Exactly. He was born 6 months before Jesus, and he was beheaded 6 months before Jesus went to the cross. Exactly. March 26, 26 AD, John begins to baptize people. He began baptizing on the same day that we see that Jesus began his ministry. Jesus began his ministry on 9/24. 6 months later, John the Baptist begins baptizing here. 6 months later, Jesus is baptized. Or sorry, begins his ministry. That's 40 days. That's at 40 days. So anyway, I already went through all that. Let me show you this. Everybody says in 29 AD, that's when John the Baptist baptized Jesus. Go reread the story. No, he didn't. This is the date that God spoke to John out in the wilderness and told him to go tell King Herod that what he was doing was wrong. And then he was jailed. Then he lost his head. And then he baptized Jesus. No, no, no. The Bible just skips around, and you got to be paying attention to what you're reading to understand that in 29 AD, and it's right there, that it says it right there. In 29 AD is when John the Baptist was killed. He was killed exactly 6 months. Exactly 6 months. John the Baptist is beheaded on September the 30th, which is Jesus's birthday. 6 months later, in 29 AD, 6 months later, March 30th and 30 AD. Jesus dies on the cross. That's it. It's that simple. Where are we at right now? What date is this? This is the 4th. We're right here. We're right in here. You can see all the dates that high watch days that have gone past. It's your fault they went past. The rapture didn't happen, so we're blaming you. I haven't gotten many of those comments. I have a feeling they saw Trump and they were like, wait a minute. Are you telling me the president of the United States knows the date? Maybe I should start studying this stuff and just instead of just parroting one verse of no man knows the day or the hour, maybe I should really investigate this for myself, because after all, my entire salvation, pre-tribulational salvation, might hinge on one verse in the Bible that I have clung to like it's a security blanket from when I was 3. Now, don't cling to that verse. You might want to do some investigating into the Bible. And if you did, you will see that it is a pre-tribulational rapture, and the rapture is about to occur. And when it does, for all you stiff-necked people who say, no, 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 when it does, I pray that you drop straight to your knees, recognize you were wrong, and pray to Jesus to save you. And he will. He will be faithful to save you, because you made a clear choice for him. Don't be stiff-necked. No man knows the day or the hour is, we've gone way past that. And quite frankly, if Trump knows, you might want to take a minute, take another look at that idea. And hey, so what? You've spent the past 5 years mocking everybody. No man knows the day or the hour all this time. So what? So what? You can still drop to your knees and pray to Jesus to save you. Still do that. I'm going to get some comments about that, but that's okay. People aren't saved because they believe in the rapture. That's not what the Bible says. You're right. You're absolutely right. That's a true statement. But I would say that people who are vehemently opposed to anyone trying to figure out the rapture and telling us all to shut up, I would say they're not saved because they're not loving his appearing. They just are not loving his. As a matter of fact, I would almost hinge on the opposite side of saying they don't want him to appear. They hate his appearing, and they are so against it that they will go out of their way to make comments on YouTube channels that do believe in his appearing. But I don't know if they're saved or not based on that. And I won't venture a guess on that myself. We're right here on April the 4th. We are very much, now I have it circled, we're very much looking at March the 16th, the day equalized. March 17th begins the Jubilee. Right here at sunset in Israel, right here at sunset in Israel on March the 16th, which is that a lull? I always get, is that a dar? I always get the two. It's a dar. A dar 31. This is a dar 31. Yes, there's 31 days in a dar. There has to be. If there aren't 31 days in a dar, your year just completely fell apart. There certainly isn't 29 like you'll find on Google if you go Google it. But yeah, there's 31 days in a dar. And the first day, this is Nissan 1 right here. Nissan 1. All right, let me see where we're at. 7 years. Hosea 6:2. This is the verse. This is one of those verses that everybody latched onto, and quite frankly, so did I, especially when everybody said he went to the cross in 30 AD. I mean, I remember back when they were saying he might have gone to the cross in 28 AD, and I was like, no, it was 30. But then 29 came, and they're like, well, maybe it's 29. No, now it's 30. They changed the year he went to the cross every year, but you got to pay attention to that 29 AD, King of Xerxes. You got to pay attention when John the Baptist lost his head. It's that simple. This is not speaking to the bride. After 2 days to revive us, Jesus went to the cross in 30 AD. 2030 AD is when they will recognize the one that they pierced and look up and cry for the one that they pierced and flee to Petra. They're not going to Petra unless they believe on Jesus. The ones who don't go to Petra still believe on their fake Messiah and they will accept the mark. That's what all that's about. All of that is about that. They will accept the mark. 1/3 of them will flee to Petra because they realize who Jesus is. They realize that they crucified God Almighty who came here in the flesh. They will accept, finally, they will accept the atoning blood of Jesus Christ who died on a cross for the sins of the whole world. That whomsoever, I'm a whomsoever, Jews are a whomsoever, everybody's a whomsoever, will take that cup and drink from it, will be saved. In the third day, on the third day, that says on the third day, he will raise us up. These people, when the rapture occurs, the entire planet, I believe, is going to rise at the same time. We know Moses does. We know all of us do. We found verses in the Bible that indicate that a whole lot, some to everlasting life, some to shame, and some to everlasting contempt. We see these verses, but we kind of write them off or we don't understand them, so we don't investigate them. I believe that anybody who is not a Jew will rise. I'm not talking about Christians now. If you're Jewish and you become a Christian, you are a Christian. You are no longer a Jew. You are no longer a Gentile. You are a Christian. The term Christian is fully trusting in the blood of Jesus Christ for salvation and nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. This is when they will raise up. There's no point in raising them up during the tribulation. No point. This is when they will raise up. In 2033, they will raise up and they will live in his sight during the millennium. That's what this verse is speaking to. This is speaking to, we're not going to live in Jesus' sight. We're going to be with Jesus. We're not going to be under him while he watches over us. We're going to be with him. We're going to be ruling and reigning with him. With him. This is the verse to the Jews. So we need to stop using Hosea 6:2 as a verse to say that 2,000 years, and this is why he went to the cross at 3380. It just makes no mathematical sense, literally no mathematical sense whatsoever. 7-year cleanup period before she travailed. I believe Sister, yeah, she has her website down here, so I believe this latest, the last time, I call this the last timeline built by Sister Sandy. And I believe she probably already has it here at endtime-studies.com. And very blessed when she contacted me, or I think she just built it and sent it to me. I was like, what? It was perfect. I was so happy that she did that and so grateful that she continues to help us all out. She builds them for David the Watchmen. She builds them for all of us. Brett, God's Down Under, just so many of us. She does so much for us, and we really appreciate it. Her piece of the puzzle is great, greater than mine. I love what she's done here for me. At any rate, 6 months, triumphant. I bet you that's like fingernails on a chalkboard for it's like me saying irregardless. It's regardless. I don't like double negatives. I hate them. And when somebody called me out on that, I was like, oh, it's a double negative. Why have I been saying it? It's a vernacular that we use up north, a colloquialism from up north. And it's funny how a vernacular and a colloquial are literally vernacular and colloquial, depending on what side of the country you're on. If you're from up north, it's a vernacular. If you're down south here, it's a colloquial. And if you use the word colloquial, I know you're from the south. If you use the word vernacular, I know you're from the north. They've actually become their own vernacular and colloquial. I find that ironic. Don't you? Isn't that ironic how that happened? And irregardless is a word that's used up north. Triumphant and triumphal, depending on the tense, David, is the same word. I like picking on David. Awesome guy. Love his zeal for searching out the truth. All right. So again, 26 AD, Jesus, why does this say? Oh, 2025. Okay, I see what she did here. I'm like, wait a minute. Down here. Again, this is the year it has. It's the same thing with David that I would discuss with him on the day out of time as being the 31st of March or the 30th. He's correct. There's a day out of time, but we will not differ, I don't believe, on the fact that it is Nisan 14 because that's what the Bible says. And on Nisan 15, that evening, after killing the sacrifice in Egypt and spreading the blood on their door, that evening they all took off. They all left. They all left Egypt at that evening on the 15th. So at any rate, 3 to 4 BC, but it is the year 4000, period. Not that doesn't budge. This one does because BC and AD it's just never right. I have literally spent hours trying to line them up and you can't do it. Depends on perspective. Before the cross, after the cross, the way people are counting, some count with a zero, some count without. It's an absolute dumpster fire to try to figure out this. But I can tell you, it's not 33 AD. It is definitely, it definitely falls within the 2 years of 3031, but it never will not fall on, see that double negative? But that was a cool one. It never will not fall. That's a fun one. In 4033. It will always be 4033 and a half because it's September. I'm sorry, March. Exactly 33 and a half years after he was born in September of 3 or 4 BC, but year 4,000 years. And again, we notice this 14 days here, and then over here we have 2,000 years minus the 14 days. So it's almost like it's being given back. And that is only relative to the day for 1,000 years. That's where it's at. And that's why I have a dispensational shift in here for the time that Jesus, from the time Jesus was born to the time he went to the cross, and the 6 months of Exodus 12. That's why that's in there. But as far as the Jubilees are concerned, the Jubilee actually, and it's really cool, but the Jubilee, this Jubilee in green, this Jubilee actually lands. Where's it at? Jubilee after sin, Jubilee after creation. I've done something. The line, I guess maybe Sister Sandy needs to move this line over to here, or give us 6 months here. But at any rate, that's the Jubilee. That's when the first seal will be opened. I believe the first seal will be opened on either on March 17th or like Ronnie says on March 19th. Here we are. Where are we at right now? A lot of very important stuff is coming up. I'm going to try to wrap this up so I don't bore everyone to tears. Lazarus, this is the 4th. It's about to be the 5th, right? Lazarus will, how do you call the anniversary of Lazarus gets sick on March 13th. They send messengers to Jesus on March 14th. I know it's March 14th because it takes Jesus 2 days to get back to Lazarus after he died. He sat still for 2 days. Then he walked for 2 days. So that tells me the messengers had to have taken 2 days to get to Jesus. So on March 14th is the date the two messengers leave, Mary and Martha, send him, hey, go get Jesus. He's really sick. Maybe he has appendicitis and they don't really, I don't know. I don't think they took care of appendicitis back then. I think if you got appendicitis, you were done. I don't know. I'm just guesstimating here. I really don't know. So 2 days, they get there. Jesus, you got to hurry back. Lazarus, the one you love, is sick. And Jesus is like, he's sleeping. Oh, if he's asleep, it's cool. Now he died. And from your understanding, he died. From my understanding, he's just sleeping. Everybody's sleeping, by the way. Nobody has died. Everybody is sleeping. The death, the second death, is the lake of fire. That's it. You go there, you're done. You done. That place wasn't even created for you. But because you're hard-headed, I've done too many bad. There's two great lies, the church. There's two great lies that have been told by Satan to mankind. One of them, you got plenty of time. Plenty of time. You're young. You got your whole life. Don't accept the Lord now. Go live your life first because that's more important. That's more fun. And then the second lie is from the church. Ooh, you went out and lived your life, didn't you? Man, look at all the things you've done. I don't know. I don't know if God wants you. You've done so many bad things. Those are the two lies. And they're both lies from the pits of hell because Satan, sorry, wow, said that backwards. My bad. The Bible clearly says that it is good news. And what the good news we see in the Bible is that if you just confess that Jesus Christ is Lord and believe it with your heart, and you will be saved. Nowhere does it say go get baptized. Now, after you're saved, just like the Philip with the Ethiopian, what happened? What happened? The Ethiopians up on the carriage, riding along, reading some stuff, probably the Old Testament. He's reading, right? He's reading it, and then Philip runs up. Hey, bub, what you reading? It's like, I don't know. I'm trying to make sense of all this, especially from all the news I'm hearing. He's like, well, it's all true. Do you believe that? He's like, well, yeah. I mean, this is quite a scuttlebutt that's come up here. It's really all over the land. Everybody's talking about it. He's like, do you believe? He's like, yeah, I believe. He's like, what's stopping me from getting baptized? He's like, now that you believe. You understand? He was saved. He was saved before he went and got baptized. Did that baptism save him? Did it seal the deal? Did it make him more saved? No. It's just an outward expression of what happens in your heart. And that's a personal experience, by the way. I can't sit back here and say, well, he did say it with his mouth, and then he did go and get baptized. So that's two. Yeah, maybe he's saved. I'm not. I'm not in a position. None of us are to determine that about anyone. It could be all fake. Yeah, sure. I believe baptized. Yeah, let me hedge my bet. I'll go do that. Okay, now I'm saved because I performed these actions. That person is not saved. There's no action. It is faith. That's it. Lazarus dies on March 16th, the day of equal parts, the day Jesus said, are there not 12 hours in the day? The day that Enoch said, on the day equalize. That's the day. The reason I know it's the day is because that's what the Bible says. Because when I do all of my counts, all of them from that day that Lazarus died, we wind up on Nisan 1. Jesus sits still. Jesus sits still for 2 days. He sat still. Then he walks and he walks 4 days. Lazarus is raised on Nisan 14. Mary and Martha buried him on the 16th. On the third day, they have to perform a ceremony. 1, 2, 3. Mary and Martha perform a ceremony because they touched a dead body back here on the 16th. They have to go 3 full days to perform that ceremony, but they're still unclean for 7 days. Why didn't Jesus go eat with Mary, Martha, and Lazarus like here after he raised him? Why didn't he had an open day? Nothing happened here on day 5. Nisan 5, there's no event here. Why didn't he go eat then? Because Mary and Martha are unclean until here. They're unclean for 7 days. You can look this up in Leviticus. Mary and Martha are finally clean. They performed their ceremony after 3 days after burying Lazarus. And now on Nisan 17, they're clean. What does Jesus do the second these two girls are clean? These two women are clean. He has a meal with Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. You know how I know that's true? Because the Bible tells me that 6 days before the cross, he had a meal with Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. It says it right there. Remember the whole story about Martha running around? What's going on? Mary's not helping me. She needs to take this seriously. And Jesus is like, calm down. Mary actually already figured it out. You haven't quite yet. You're working. Calm down. He, of course, was talking about salvation. And Lazarus was raised. But then we see the two stories in the King James are conflated together by mistake. They assume it's the same meal, but it's not. It's the next day. As a matter of fact, this meal happened during the daytime. This meal happened in the evening at sunset. It happened right here at the evening at sunset. He had a meal with Simon the leper, and this is where his head was anointed. His head was anointed. It had to happen after sunset, without a doubt, because it had to happen 4 days before the cross. March 26th, Nisan 10, the triumphant entry, David, because it already happened. And we're celebratory over the fact that he was triumphant in his triumphal entry. Sorry, I like picking on David. Triumphant. Anyway. Miriam dies on this day. You know who Miriam is, right? Miriam is the sister of Moses and Moses's brother Aaron. That's the sister. That's the day she dies. It's all ties in together. It's not, you can't separate it. When was the Last Supper? Man, I've heard so many people over the years just try to explain this. And I'm like, look, it's a supper. It happened at supper. It happened in the evening. It happened as soon as sunset right here. It happened right here. When did this meal happen with Simon the leper? It happened at the evening. What happened in the morning? Go get yourself a colt. What was it? A donkey and a colt. And then this is his triumphant entry. I'm going to go back to that quite a bit just to mess with David. All right. Last Supper, same thing. It happened at sunset. That evening in the garden, they took him. In the morning, they beat him. They judged him. They set Barabbas free. They made him carry the cross and hung him on a cross at noon. And by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he died on that cross. Then, remember what I said? 121, 1.21 gigawatts. That's the last day of unleavened bread. What happened in the midst? This is the first day of unleavened bread, Nisan 14. You can find it in Leviticus. This is the last day of unleavened bread, Nisan 21. You can find it in Leviticus. What happened in the midst of that? The ark rested. The ark rested. Jesus rises right here within this period of time. I'm sure the ark rested in the evening. Jesus rose at 3 o'clock in the morning. Reverse the curse is when the ark rested. 3.5 days, right in the midst of that feast of unleavened bread. Now, what is John and Ronnie speaking about? They said on Nisan 3, which I show that as March 19th. I think he might have said March 20th. I'm not sure. The first seal is open. Where are we when this first seal is open on Nisan 3? By the way, if you haven't watched that video, it's very compelling. Please go watch it. It's very compelling. Nisan 3, first seal, seal number 1. Every 3 days a seal. Every 3 days for 6 seals is 18 days. 18 plus 3 is 21. It is Nisan, over here. It is Nisan 21. It's the last day of unleavened bread. It is also the 21st day of the year, start of the year on March 17th. It is April the 6th. That is the last day of unleavened bread. if you open up one seal every 3 days, and on the sixth seal, we see, and I gotta remind you, the tribulation is for the salvation of the Jewish nation. Jacob's trouble and Daniel's 70th week have nothing to do with the Gentile. It has everything to do with the Jewish people. And they are the most stiff-necked, hard-headed people. They are the correct group of people that God chose because they are the only ones that will get stuck in tradition. And it would literally take more than following a column of fire at nighttime after escaping Egypt to convince them, and manna falling from it's insane. Manna falling from heaven, splitting the Red Sea. And what did they do? They built a golden calf. Ah, they are the only group of people on the face of the earth that would do that. I don't think the rest of the groups of the people on the face that's why they were chosen, because of they're stuck in tradition, they're stuck under the law, and nothing will bring them out aside from, and even it sounds to me like even the rapture is not going to bring them out of that. It sounds to me like something at the 3.5 year mark is going to bring them out of that, where a third of them are going to realize. So at any rate, that's where we are. We are again on coming up on March the 5th. I don't like jumping this far into the future, but it's really looking like John 6:44 in the last day. This is the last day. Spring begins on March 17th. I've showed you that with the circuit of the sun, and the 16th being each seasonal change. I know the 21st you pointed out, and what's unfortunate about that, that's actually the center of it. The sun actually enters the 23.5 degree mark on the 16th and exits on the 30th, and the center of it is the 21st. It's like I said, when you throw a ball back and forth, people are counting when the ball's up here, not where it started. Excuse me. Got a frog in my throat. Not where it started. You count from where it started on the 16th. It ended on the 30th. You don't count in the middle on the 21st where it's at its peak. You count from where it started. It hit the 23.5 degree mark on the 16th. Does it on December the 16th? That is a Kaseh. Well, the Kasehs are over here. Kislev 31. This is the Kaseh. There's 4 of them. They each happen just before a seasonal change. And remember, while I have matched it up to a Gregorian date, this is the date, Kislev 31. That's the date that we're to be looking at. There are 364 of these Hebrew dates that we find. 364, not 360, 364. And they make up a 7-day times 52-week year of 364 days. This extra day that I'm stuck with, that I'm saddled with, like I said before, I've placed it right here. September 23rd, 24th. David has placed it right here. And honestly, I thought about that myself. And when he said it, I thought, yeah, I don't know. If I place this, if I call this March 30 and 31, I start playing around with the amount of time. I don't really, because Nissan 14, it's not Nissan 1415. I'm taking up an extra day for the Gregorian. So technically, Nissan 14 goes right into Nissan 15, which if Nissan 15 were accurate, this would be, well, Nissan 15 is accurate. This would be, this is when the Jews leave Egypt. This would be April Fool's Day. That would be April Fool's Day. So I kind of get where David's coming from, to be completely honest. And again, I've thought about putting it here. I didn't want to place it anywhere where it messed with anything time related, as far as, because Jesus right here I actually have Yom Kippur on the wrong day. It's actually here as well. The 24th, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. If you count it out that way, it's actually 5 days. So yeah, no, I did put it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and that's when his birthday is on Tabernacles. I put it here just to get rid of it, but it's still Tishri 9, no matter what. It's still Tishri 9. Tishri 10, no matter what, is the Day of Atonement. That's in Leviticus. You see what I'm saying? So while I did stick this here, I can see a validity in David placing it here as well. So when he says March 31, March 30th, know that he is saying Nissan 14. We're saying the same thing exactly because technically we're supposed to be counted by this because these are the numbers. These are biblical. This is fantasy. This doesn't even exist. Honestly, starting the year January 1st is literally silly. It holds no meaning, you know. But God still used the Gregorian. It was there was a reason why it came out in 45 BC. Uh, Prior to that, it was King Antiochus who came out with the moon thing in 400 BC, and by 45 BC, they came out with the Julian calendar, and Julian called January 1st in 45 BC. So that calendar, where the year begins on January 1st, was actually used by Jesus. So therefore, we still have this to deal with this Gregorian calendar, which is nothing but a patch fix because the Julian calendar over the years went awry because they used a 24.25 day when it's actually 24.24 and some change. And even the Gregorian's wrong by a day over the course of, I think, 4,000 or 5,000 years. They're not too concerned about that day. In a few thousand years, if time would have continued, they would have had to reconcile that one day. And then it had gone another 5,000 years before they would have had to reconcile it again. So at any rate, I hope all that math was helpful. 4,000 years, 2,000 years. I've got to move the 2,000 years from the cross over to here, and the start seals in March, but that's an older timeline. Needs a little bit of work. This is the last timeline that I built. So just be ready here. Just be ready. All right. Pray for the Iranians. Pray for Jesus to save as many of them as possible, as will come to him, as will answer that call. Um, hardship, honestly, sometimes drives people to their knees. I heard people in Iran videoing bombs dropping, and they were calling on the name of Jesus. They were calling on the name of Jesus. So they're very aware of who he is. And this person that was recording might have been Christian or might have became Christian at the moment he saw the bombs coming down, which might be the case for a lot of people when the bombs come down. Things are heating up. Chris over Global Rapture Watch, I just listened to his. It's getting exciting. We're getting very close, very, very close. And like I said so many times, the closer we get, the more things will be obvious. And that thing that happens, that one thing, what it is, I don't know. I can only speculate that it might be Damascus. It might be, I don't even know, an earthquake. It was funny today. David started texting me. He's like, wait a second, those 14 days I'm seeing, I see that he's texting me back and forth. And I'm like, you see the 14 days? Good. That's awesome. And I texted back. I'm like, I just realized that the moment you text me and said that you had seen those 14 days and you were going to make a video, a 6.4 magnitude earthquake went off. I think it was Alaska. And he was like, no way. And I'm like, it sure did. I have a feeling that when we touch on something that's super close, the things are going to start increasing and our knowledge will increase. Be ready to bob and weave. Be ready to learn something new because things are being unlocked right now that we've never seen before. And just always keep an open mind. And always remember, I've never called out a rapture date, just I watch days. And I'm thinking March 16th at sunset in Israel because that's when the Jubilee begins. I'm thinking that, but there's nothing to say it won't happen tomorrow. I don't know. It might happen when God sends that Amos 3:7 sign to us. He says he'll do nothing except he warn the prophets and the saints first. We're saints. Like, well, I'm not a prophet, that's for sure. Not a preacher. There's plenty of people who are smarter than I am on the Bible stuff. So. But at any rate, can't wait for his appearing. I do love his appearing. Boy, do I love his appearing. And that's what I'm waiting for. And hope and pray every day. Just hope and pray. This is the day. This is I wake up in the morning, I'm like, still here, you know? But one of these days I'm going to wake up and go, oh, I'm still here. Wait a minute. I don't recognize this room. This is a beautiful room. Jesus will be standing there going, man, it's about time you woke up. How tired were you down there? I'm like, I was exhausted. It's like, I've been standing here waiting. Let's go. I got things to show you. We got things to do. Like what's the channel? Brian. His name is Brian. I'm awake or you. He's like, come on. Let's go under the ocean and smell the roses. And I'll be like, under the ocean? How am I supposed to breathe underwater? He's like, watch this. So yeah, it's gonna be something else, it's gonna be something else. It's beyond and I'll tell you what, Brian paints one beautiful picture. He paints a very vivid. That's his gift. That is his piece of the puzzle. I'll tell you what, he paints a one heck of a picture of heaven, and it is something else just to listen to his videos. I absolutely look forward to his videos all the time, and just because of how vivid he paints a picture of heaven, and even that will pale by comparison to what's actually there, you know. So, all right, YouTube, like, comment, share, and subscribe. At this point, I only tell people to subscribe because I hope that it helps the algorithm. Make a comment. Tell me where you're from. The comments actually help also, believe it or not, with the algorithm to place it in front of people who otherwise might not see this. I actually had that happen. Somebody commented and said, I don't know how this type of video wound up in my feed, but man, this is interesting. I've never heard of such things. And then at which point I said, well, then go listen to this person, go listen to that person, because this is about to happen. That was a year ago, I think, or 2 years ago. And so, you know, all of this is about to go down. So getting, how do you say, subscribing to all these channels that I recommend, David the Watchman, Brett from Gaza. Look, many of you, and I believe I've done a fair job of promoting as many channels as I come across. It's never enough. It's just never enough. I have friends right now that I'm forgetting. They're going to be like, you didn't talk about my channel. But no, anytime I make a video, I talk about these other brothers and sisters because they're awesome, and I look forward to spending eternity with them. And picking on David, Triumphant, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Picking on David. All right. Anyway, yeah, what was they saying? Brett from Gaza Down Under, so many of them, absolutely so many of them. But please go subscribe to them. Again, make a comment, say hi, tell them Repo Man said to say hi. It doesn't matter. But say hi, and that boosts their algorithm as well, and which we need, because I don't believe any of this stuff. Everybody's like, it's all going to be wiped out. I worked 7 years on all this content. I don't believe that for a second. This is the stored up grain. This is the information that they're going to have. This is all they're going to have. This is all they're going to have during the tribulation. There is no more. Just like the 7 years of plenty, there was plenty going around. You didn't listen. No man knows the day or the hour. But here we are during this 7 years. Now it's famine. Now you're living off of the words that happened during those seven, during all the wonderful things that we found, all the math that we did. Now you're going to live off of those 7 years during the 7 years of famine. No new food's been grown during those 7 years. No new food. You're eating off of that old food that's stored up, and that's what this is, in my opinion. So let's get this out into mine, Chris at Global Rapture Watchers, Brett from Gaza Down Under, David the Watchman, and just so many others that 400 people I follow. But either I've spoken to them or I'm friends with somebody that's spoken to them. We have this web I spoke to that guy, but I haven't. Like, if I want to talk with Wayne at We're the Overcomers, I think Brett has his email, so I would send something to Brett to send to Wayne type thing. So ultimately, we're all interwoven, interconnected at a point, to some point. So At any rate, go make a comment. I think the comment, honestly, I believe the comment and the like help move it into out there into the universe for everybody to see. So, all right, we will chat with you all again later. When something big happens, I will come right back out here. Earthquake, Damascus, all this stuff that's going on. Something happens, I'll come right back out here and try to relate it. But you can see I don't have a lot on my timeline up until Lazarus gets sick on March 13th, which is about what, 9 days, 8 days away from now. So, all right, chat with you all again later.